Hi, this is Chaz Palminteri, and if you're thinking about getting your eyes done, the only person to see is Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada. I flew all the way from New York to be here, and Dr. Rothman did my eyes. And all I could say is, it's a miracle. I could see. You see Dr. Rothman of LASIK of Nevada.
Broadcasting live from the Vegas Video Network studios, just steps from the Las Vegas Strip.
It's time to get on the right side of sports betting. It's time for the Odds Couple.
Welcome to the Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. It's Super Bowl weekend, Sin City, Las Vegas. Does it get any better than this? I hope so. My name is Scott Pritchard, joined as always by my good buddy and co-host Anthony Padilla.
Thanks, Scotty. Man, I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Clearly, I'm wearing my Tony Romo jersey, so I could care less about that, but I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit, as well as why you should vote for me, where you can vote for me, and why Scotty is in love with Ray Lewis.
Yeah, okay. I can't wait to hear this. Let's attack the line. Super Bowl Sunday, New Orleans, the Baltimore Ravens taking on the San Francisco 49ers 2 weeks ago. After the championship games, the game opened Niners -5. Early money for the past 2 weeks now has come in pretty steadily on the Ravens, down from 5 to 4. 4.5, 4 is where we are today after a touch of 3.5.
Yeah, you know, I was telling you just before I went on air here that when that line opened at -5, I was heading to LVH that night for the show, which is Comedy After Dark starring Anthony Padilla, and you can also vote for me at the www.bestoflasvegas.com/vote. We'll get into that later. But going back to this line, when it did open at that, I told myself, make sure you bet something on this game tonight, because first of all, I'm taking the Ravens. You know, we can just throw that out there now. Second of all, I thought -5, that's great. I know it's going to go down. I was thinking it would end up probably somewhere around 2.5, 3. It's at 3.5, and it still might change before Sunday. Obviously, a lot of people are coming in town and dropping the money, but I don't know, man. This is a game where you've got a lot of experience on the Ravens side versus a lot of youth on the 49ers. I mean, that's kind of a classic battle, and it's funny that we've got it one more time in the Super Bowl.
49ers going into the season, one of the preseason favorites to get to the Super Bowl. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. I guess the only surprising thing was, Alex Smith, their QB from a year ago, led them to the championship game. This year, Jim Harbaugh the coach for the Niners, decided to go with Colin Kaepernick, and he looks like a hero. Colin Kaepernick has done a very good job quarterbacking and leading this team to the Super Bowl. Alex Smith, no slouch, 20 wins, 6 losses, led the team to the championship game a year ago. He left because of an injury and never to get his starting job back. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, a bit of a fraud. Really, the 4th seed in the AFC. They lost 4 of their last 5 regular season games, but they went on the road and beat Denver, and they went on the road and beat the New England Patriots. As far as attacking this line, I have an opinion, but it has more to do with the money line. Okay, I'm not going to take the Niners minus the points. I like the Niners on the money line. I've already bet it at -170. It's already up to -180, 85, 90 cents, depending upon where you bet. Now, as far as attacking the total for this contest opened 49.5, and the money has come in on the under down to 48 today, 47.
You know what? I think this is actually a pretty good bet going with the under, because obviously the Ravens, especially the division that they're in the AFC, it's a grindstone football. This is it's a battle week in and week out. They've got 6-3 finals and 9-0. That's just the way they do it in that division. San Francisco does have a high-powered offense, so this for me is a fun game to watch because of the fact that you get to see that just old-fashioned, old-school defense with a team like the Ravens against, a team like the 49ers, see what they can do. I think that's truly where it's going to come down to, at the end of the game as far as the total points, because the Ravens have the capability to put the points on the board, but even a lot of points for them is going to be, high teens, low 20s. 49ers against your average defense, they've got the capability of putting up 30, 35 on their own, but I see this being probably like a 20 to 17 type game or a 24 to 17 type game. So I would go with the under.
49ers have a very good defense. I expect both of these teams with very good running games, with Frank Gore for the Niners, a star running back who never turns the ball over, Colin Kaepernick, a very good running quarterback. On the other side of the coin, the Baltimore Ravens, very good running team with Ray Rice. Pierce is a very good running back as well. Joe Flacco, he's been very good in the playoffs, especially on the road. He's a good quarterback, far from great. The public for the Super Bowl oftentimes will outweigh what the wise guys, the sharp bettors, will do for this contest. Joe Public, they love betting the favorite and they love betting the over. Now, the money 2 weeks ago, the professionals have been on the under. I tend to like the under as well, but I didn't play under 49.5. So right now I'm hoping, I know there are 47.5s out there. I will play it. But I'm hoping that Joe Public will continue to drive this total up because the public will bet the day of the game, the weekend of the game, whereas the wise guys were betting 2 weeks ago for the people like Anthony who liked the Ravens. Again, why would you take +4 when you could have had +5? So as far as this contest, going to be very exciting. I mean, we're talking about the Super Bowl. The 49ers somewhat expected to get there before the season started, but the Baltimore Ravens has flat out been a major surprise.
You know it has, and going back to your point earlier about the Ravens being kind of a fraud, at this point it doesn't matter. They're in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter how you got there. If you're there, ultimately that's the goal. Going back to last year with the Giants squeaking in with a 9-7 record and winning the whole thing, you know what happens. I think this Ravens team is better than that Giants team, and yes, they did struggle for the last 5 games, but they looked very impressive the last 2 weeks. So it's more about getting hot at the right time.
I think that's a very good point. A couple of years ago, the Green Bay Packers got hot at the right time. The Giants last year, I mean, come on, they had to win their last regular season game against the Cowboys to get into the playoffs, and then they got hot at the right time, went on to win the Super Bowl, compliments of Wes Welker dropping a pass from Tom Brady late in that contest.
Well, and it's funny how things work out. Sure-handed guys dropping balls when it counts. Sometimes that just happens. There's no rhyme or reason or explanation, and, they catch it 9 out of 10 times.
Well, Wes is a great receiver for the Patriots, but I'm telling you, the guy, he drops a lot of balls.
Especially as of late.
Yeah, and it happened in the championship game in the third quarter on that drive against the Baltimore Ravens as well.
Well, and you know what? That's why they're at home. Which, sadly for you, we can't put them on the wheel this week.
What?
So
the
we had to go with 2 other teams.
Wheel?
I know. I know.
I'll play anyway.
Now, it is time for Spin to Win. As you all know, we have a great time with this part of the show. We've got 2 teams on the wheel. Usually it's the Patriots, but since they are no longer in the playoffs, we do have, of course, the 49ers and the Ravens. 49ers are favored by 3.5. We're going to spin the wheel. Each of us are going to make an argument for both teams because, as you know, the smart bettor bets with their head, not with their heart. So we've got the lovely Tara 2 weeks in a row, kind of freaking me out here, but she's here, so if you could spin the wheel, please, Tara.
It looks like Scotty is going to be stuck with the Ravens.
Stuck is right. Okay, I'm going to have to sell you on why the Ravens will be a good bet in this contest. The Ravens, they've improved their defense. Now, early on, midway part of the season, once Ray Lewis hit the deck, they were 26th, 27th in all of football defensively. One of the biggest improvements for this team has been the play of their defense. They're all the way up to 15th, 16th. Now, Ray Lewis has come back. I'm not buying the fact that he's all that great. He's an antique. He's 37 years old, been in the league for 17 years. Forget how many tackles he's had in his last 3 games. Those tackles, those statistics are flat out inflated. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But the fact is, the Ravens are in the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. They are an underdog. Again, I tend to lean on underdogs because oftentimes underdogs are undervalued. I think the points, it could be a very close game, and the 4 points could definitely help you.
All right, look, what you just said is the very reason San Francisco is going to win the game. You said you like underdogs. Colin Kaepernick is the ultimate underdog. Just because he's now got them in a position of being in the Super Bowl doesn't mean you suddenly and instantly elevate your status from underdog to favorite. This guy came in because Alex Smith was hurt. You didn't know what you were going to get from him. His first game was on Monday night. He came out and just blew the lights out, tore it up that night. And then the the weeks following, and everybody questioned, okay, was it just a one-game fluke? Okay, now I did it for a couple games. Oh, now we have a quarterback controversy. And he has managed to live up to and exceed any and all expectations week in and week out with nothing but drama surrounding him. That cannot be, I mean, I know how uncomfortable it is here if I feel like you're going to get to talk more during a show. I can't imagine in an NFL locker room where you just took a guy's starting job and he did nothing wrong. I mean, truly, everybody, every analyst, every talking head in the sports betting world or otherwise will agree Alex Smith did nothing to lose his job. I mean, you have to feel for the guy in a manner of speaking, because what else can you do? You know, you got hurt. What a shameful way to have to lose your job. But you know what? He'll move on next year, go to somewhere else. Unfortunately, he's had to write it out with this team, and he will be at the game, once again, backing up the underdog of underdogs, Colin Kaepernick, who is just a man amongst men as far as rookies go and what he can do and bring to the field. He's fast. He's got a great arm. You know, they keep talking about how he's not a running quarterback. He's a throwing quarterback who has the capability to run, and that is far more dangerous than anything that Joe Flacco presents. Again, Joe Flacco's got a great arm, you know, but he likes to throw the deep ball. If you can stop that, then he's got really nowhere to go. Kaepernick can throw the deep ball, the short ball. He can run with it. You know, he's got a lot of different weapons that he can bring to the table. Colin Kaepernick is not the only thing the 49ers have. They've still got a great defense. They've still got Frank Gore. You know, Vernon Davis has matured in ways beyond. And you've got to go back to when Mike Singletary threw him out of the game and sent him back to the locker room. And from that point on, he's just been a changed man on and off the field. And he brings it to the field every week. So the 49ers, again, very powerful team. And if the Ravens are unable to stop them early, you know, I just see them running away with it.
Here's what you have with the 49ers. The concern is, I mean, Colin Kaepernick is obviously a very good quarterback, but this team is all about defense. I love the teams that play defense, especially this time of year, but they also rely on a very good running game with Frank Gore, and we all know that the quarterback's best friend is a good running game. Did I interrupt something?
No, I was thinking about this because I'm a little bit torn on, you know, running game. They say that this has become a pass-happy league, you know, and this is the reason so many passing and receiving records are getting broken. You don't see as much running, which is why we talked a few weeks ago about Adrian Peterson's near record being such a big deal, you know, not only coming off the injury, but the fact that it is such a pass-happy league. But I think you make a good point as far as the run setting up the pass, and it doesn't seem like a lot of teams do it correctly for whatever reason. You know, it's almost as if the run doesn't work a couple of downs. You know, they get away from it. Or going back to last week, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, in a game that was being played, you just knew that the run was coming on first down every single possession. And then it just and then they just go, oh, well, the run's not working for us today. Well, mix it up a little bit, you know. So I think it is still a big part, but I think some teams need to get back to a good balance. Now, when you have a running quarterback, that's obviously the best way to do it.
I think it's a copycat league, and I think a few short years ago, Andy Reid, the coach of the Eagles, and everyone's followed suit now, he set up the run game with the short passing game. He saw the short passing game as an extended version of a very controlled running game. Yeah,
and likewise with the Cowboys, I remember they went through a couple of seasons where they would throw a little, you know, just a little screen 3 out of 4 plays and just pick up that, you know, 6-7 yard dump offs and just wear down that defense. Now, again, in a game like this, you can really wear down that Ravens defense. But going back the last couple weeks, Denver Denver dominated that game. They should not have lost that game, and that came down to the last couple of minutes, you know. But even that tired Ravens defense in Mile High, you know, in Denver, that thin air, they managed to find a way. So you've got a controlled temperature setting in New Orleans, and, you know, I don't know. This is going to be a battle.
Should be a very exciting contest between these two teams, the Ravens taking on the 49ers. To expand on Anthony's point, the Ravens, yes, congratulations, you've gotten there, but here's the thing. They won at Denver because of 3 key turnovers by Peyton Manning. Again, you can't forecast turnovers, you can't forecast injuries, and the New England Patriots in the championship game beat themselves. It's simply because, I mean, give credit to the Ravens. They did not turn the ball over, but the Patriots turned it over 3 times uncharacteristically for them. So again, in the Super Bowl here, oftentimes it comes down to the team that makes the least number of mistakes. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You can't forecast turnovers. One thing we can forecast is commercial breaks. And it's that time Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Come back and join us. Odds Couple right here on the Vegas Video Network.
Oh, hi. I'm Kelly Clinton. That sucked. I wonder if Joan Rivers is watching. Oh, please. Oh, my God. Who cares? I don't have a different one. You know who watches this show? Wayne Newton.
You got that right, Kelly. I think you're absolutely beautiful and talented young lady. 5, 6, 9, 12. Talker shit.
More camera time for me. Hey, I wonder if Cher's watching.
Oh, please. I have so many other things to do.
Woo! Hi, I'm Kelly Clinton. I'm the host of Talk Tales, and you're watching the Vegas Video Network. That was horrible.
Welcome back to the Odds Couple on the world-famous Vegas Video Network. Scott Pritchard alongside Anthony Padilla. Great to have you with us. To reach out to us, we would love to have you be a part of the show. You can do that a number of ways. Email us, oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. That's oddscouple@vegasvideonetwork.com. You can also check us out. We'd love to hear your voice on our show. Go to our web-based voicemail page. On the right-hand side, red bar, click there. And in the middle of the page, a green bar, hit start recording. Also, we're continue to field live chat questions, anything that occurs to you in the world of sports, namely sports betting, and or if you want to get your opinion dialed in for this weekend's contest, we would love to hear from you. We will answer the question live on the air. If you do miss us live, it's okay. You can reach out to us on iTunes, YouTube, Vegas Video Network, Roku, and then every Saturday, this show is rebroadcast on KSHP AM 1400 radio. Now, in the world of sports and or sports betting, you don't have to look far to find frustration. Are you kidding me?
All right, look, I'm talking about something today that I'm revisiting. I talked about it earlier in the season, and it's performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, more commonly referred to as, all right? I don't care about this in sports. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't agree with people doing things that are illegal or against the law, in layman's terms, for you, Scotty. But when it comes to performance enhancement on the field, I'm paying the ticket price to go watch these guys do things that the average person can't do. And you know what? Sometimes that takes doing things to your body that the average person isn't willing to do. Now, again, don't misunderstand me. What Lance Armstrong did was if he was doing stuff that was illegal, then that's completely different. But what you have to understand that the media and otherwise you never get the full story from is there's a lot of substances or ingredients that might be in something that one of these athletes takes, and it's banned by that particular sport. You know, you've got Major League Baseball, you have the NFL, and these guys do anything from pills to syringes to both, and there's a big difference in doing something that's endangering your life and your body and those around you versus just doing something to get back on the field quicker. I'm talking about this today because there was a story on Media Day for the Super Bowl. Of course, a PED story, and why wouldn't it be Ray Lewis? There were stories that he took a deer antler spray and used it, and one of the ingredients in this deer antler spray is a substance that's banned by the NFL. Is it illegal? I'm not sure if it's illegal. I don't believe it is, but it is banned by the NFL. Therefore, he would be doing something wrong. But it's also something that many people use to recover from an injury faster. We all use something, whether it's Icy Hot or Flexall, whatever it may be. And it's as simple as one of those things that you use to recover might have an ingredient that's banned by the league you play in. Is it up to the athlete to have the responsibility to decide whether they want to use this knowing that it may contain a banned substance? Absolutely. But in terms of us blowing this up to be they're not Hall of Fame worthy and revoke all their batting titles or whatever the case may be, I think it's a bit absurd. And really, we need to worry about more important things in this country, like when to use a crosswalk correctly. It took me an extra 10 minutes to get here this morning because the guy was waiting for me when he had the little green flashing man. That means it's your turn to walk. Dude, see, I can't turn right there because if I do, then I'm going to get pulled over. Four-way stops, come on, people, they're really not that hard. person to the right has the right of way, and if you get there at the same time, same kind of deal. Otherwise, whoever gets there first goes first. There are more important things than worrying about what athletes are putting in their bodies, endangering nobody else but themselves. Let them deal with the consequences later on. I don't mean to sound harsh about it, but they're there to entertain us. Let them do what they have to do, all right? If I have to get drunk before a show, I don't need you there to protect my liver. I'm just doing what I want to do to entertain you. I'm drunk right now. All right, I'm not. Let me clarify, because I know somebody at home is going to write in. Is this guy really drunk? No, I'm not. But people entertain, and they do what they have to do it at the highest level. All right, so are you kidding me? That's enough. Let's just enjoy the game.
300,000 people coming to Las Vegas this weekend for the big game. More people coming to Las Vegas than going to the Super Bowl in and of itself. Now, there are 250 ways to bet this game thanks to a thing called props. Are you kidding me? Props! 250 ways to bet one game? How sick of a compulsive gambler do you have to be to bet heads or tails?
I took tails.
Maybe you have commitment issues. I rest my case. You bet tails. After betting the Cowboys, no doubt. So you can bet heads or tails. You have to lay 10 cents to the book. I want to share a personal story. My good buddy Dink, featured in the movie Lay the Favorite, starring Bruce Willis as Dink. A few short years ago, he had inside info on in Vegas, they had a prop, the length of the national anthem, 1 minute, 59 seconds. Now, he had inside info that the taped music part of the national anthem was at 1 minute, 53 seconds. So obviously, it's going to end at 1 minute, 53 seconds. So in Vegas, he bet under and was liking it until he saw it move from 1 minute, 59 seconds to 2 minutes and then up to 2 minutes and 1 second. So he got a little bit scared and stopped betting it. But he did have good money on the under 159, knowing that the tape was going to end at 153. So now it's Super Bowl Sunday. They play the national anthem, and the lady stops singing at 153. So again, you might think, wow, that's a big-time sucker bet, but if you have information, then it might present some value. I do have a strong play on one proposition bet, and I'm going to be addressing 3 to 5 other prop bets at my seminar on Saturday at Harrah's on the Strip from noon to 4, how to bet the Super Bowl and win. Check that out at pritchardspicks.com. Dink from the movie Lay the Favorite, starring Bruce Willis as Dink, will be joining me for this 4-hour sports betting educational alongside a fellow professional sports bettor, Paul Bovey. But generally speaking, who's going to score the first touchdown, over, under on rushing yards, might present some value simply because a few short years ago I had Terrell Davis when they played the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl. I had over 73. It closed 82 and it fell 157. Okay, he only played 3 quarters because he got kicked in the head, had a concussion, but still got there. 2 years ago, right here on this network, a show called Let's Bet, I released my prop, which was the Green Bay Packers total rushing yards under 82.5. It fell 49, easy winner. I only wish they all could be that easy. Are you kidding me? Let's keep it moving. We're going to attempt to put more money into your pocket. This is the part of the show where Anthony and I together put you on the right side.
All right, friends, I got to tell you, I'm a little hurt. It's a little choked up today that this is the last week of the football season that we'll be betting on the NFL, or talking about betting on the NFL. It's been a great year for both of us, Scott. We both had a rough start. Doesn't matter how. Look, here's something that Scott and I often talk about. You know, off air, at home, we'll text each other, laying around eating Cheetos, and pick up the phone and call and talk about this for hours on end. You know, it doesn't matter how you start, and it doesn't matter what goes on in the middle. All that matters is at the end of the day that you win more than you lose. And I understand that sounds, you know, kind of silly that we're having this conversation, but you have to remember this. It doesn't matter if you start 0-5, okay, because you're going to come back, and everything cycles, and everything happens in trends, whether it's betting or otherwise. You just have to know that what you're doing is sticking the course and listening to Scott and I. If you do that, you'll be all right. And that being said, we both had great seasons. And after last week, the Pro Bowl of all games, I believe, in fact, we can check the tape if we need to, but I went with the NFC. And the NFC did, in fact, blow out the AFC. And so, once again, we've got a winner. Now, this week, we have, of course, just the one game. The Ravens are the 3.5-point underdogs to the 49ers. We've discussed this at length today, and I'm glad that we had to go the way we did earlier with spin to win, because I'm just going to tell you right up front, the right side for me this week is the Ravens, plus the 3.5, and here's why. It's because of everything that I said earlier of why the 49ers would win this game. Look, the Ravens have not only a great defense, but they have a veteran defense. Ed Reed is by far one of the best to ever play the game. Ray Lewis, regardless of what you think of him on a personal level, one of the best to play the game ever, and he's retiring after this game. There are intangibles that come into play every week, especially in the Super Bowl. You've got a 49er team that's playing in the Super Bowl. A lot of these guys, they've never been in the playoffs before, and now it's the biggest game, the biggest stage. There's no time for nerves. I actually believe Colin Kaepernick is going to come out and be ready to go. But there's no time for him to get off to a slow start, which he has done previously this year in a couple of games. And yes, he finds it and turns it on. But if you do that against the Ravens, Joe Flacco is poised. And this guy was in a contract year, and even though he's been in the playoffs and won a playoff game all 5 years with the Ravens, they were still talking about, are we going to give him the money? Are we going to franchise him? And so he's had to go through this through the playoffs, and he has absolutely proved that he is worth the money. He's got you to where you need to be. So I believe the Ravens are going to come out, and they're going to come out strong. Again, the 49ers do have that capability, but if they don't turn it on early, then you got to watch out for what the Ravens are going to do, because the Ravens also do have the capability of putting the points on the board. But all of that aside, you've got a 49er team favored by 3.5. Personally, I think the Ravens are going to win the game, but even if San Francisco wins the game, I think it's going to be maybe 3. And you got to remember, San Francisco has David Akers, who his head right now is not in the best of places. He missed more field goal attempts this year, or he missed more field goals per attempt this year than he ever has in his career. And that guy, and he's getting older. And this guy is a guy that right before they went in the playoffs, Jim Harbaugh brought in another kicker and had a kickoff. And David Akers actually had to kick off for his job. And then after that, still ended up missing a field goal. And the only reason that they didn't get rid of him was because of the fact they brought another guy on the roster and then released him. So when your kicker's head is shaky in a game like this where it could come down to that, you can go back to the Bills against the Cowboys back in a couple of Super Bowls in the 90s and see how much that can hurt. So my right side, once again, is the Ravens plus the 3.5.
I give Anthony a lot of credit. I mean, he's riding that streak, riding that wave. He's been on the Ravens in the playoffs. Congratulations. But all good things must come to an end. I don't have an opinion on the side as far as the points. I did bet the Niners on the money line minus the 70 cents. I do want to recap what took place a week ago on the right side. As you know, as I know, and everyone in the studio and everyone in this building knows, Anthony had the winning side in the Pro Bowl. Congratulations. I would not release a side on that game, but it's interesting because there was a big move on the AFC. All the money came in on the AFC. Everyone went against Anthony, and everyone lost except Anthony. Now, the total on that game a week ago, 83.5, all the money came in. It closed 79, the entire world on the under. The over got there. It had to do with pick sixes, fumbles, run back for touchdowns, and so again, turnover is a big part of any game. If you can forecast who's going to turn the ball over, bet against that team. Easier said than done. I do have a strong play. One of the props that I'll be releasing at my seminar at Harrah's tomorrow, the total points for a player, the total points scored by David Akers, the 49er kicker, over or under 7.5. As Anthony alluded to, this guy is a star kicker, but he's had a very challenging year. He's missed more field goals this year than ever before, but he still has tied the all-time record of a 63-yard kick. But the thing I look at here, it's in a controlled setting. It's in a dome. It's not the swirly winds of San Francisco. And so I really feel the value is betting over 7.5. Mathematically speaking, think about this. If the Niners kick and make 2 field goals, you have 6 points. That means only 2 more touchdowns, you're dialed in. The over-under for total points for San Fran, around 26, 27. That tells you that they're projected to score a couple of field goals. So 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points equals 8, where I come from. So over 7.5. Red Rover, I love the over 7.5 points. David Akers, see the cashier.
That's it, man. We're at the end of the season. I'm excited. I know you're not going to be watching the game, but I am. So let me ask,
watching the game,
during
absolutely.
the Super Bowl, do you sit with your computer and get all the snacks and goodies and just watch the numbers?
Well, I have snacks and goodies with me 24/7. But I have to say, as far as the Super Bowl goes, yeah, I mean, I'll mute the commercials. I find them to be brain dead, and I find them to be very annoying and obnoxious. But I will watch the game, even though it'll tie up about 6 hours of my life, but only with the vantage point of hammering something in the second half. So I do watch the high-profile games occasionally, but I want to validate my point because Anthony's always busting my chops on the fact that I don't watch that many games. But you have to understand, I don't expect you to, but I'm asking you to, that I can't spend all my time chasing numbers, getting the best of it, doing my research, dissecting numbers, and getting a half point and half the best of it, and then watch 5 games a day. I just don't have the time. Some people do. I don't. Cowboy fans, I would imagine, do.
Well, you know what? I will give you credit. No, I watch one game on Sundays. Are you kidding? I mean, I'll leave the other games on while I clean the house or whatever, but the Cowboy game is the only one I care about. But I do give you credit, especially going into the Super Bowl, and I want people to understand we do this show every week. Naturally and generally, I pick more winners than you.
No, that's very unnatural. But I give you credit.
No.
I had a winning year, but he had a phenomenal year.
I have a point with this because I have fun with this. And you do this all day, every day, for a living, picking every game. So absolutely, it's understandable that you need to spend that time. And that's why I have such a great respect and admiration for what you do, because of the fact that you take it very serious and you don't just watch the games and, go off other things. Like, at the end of the day, the numbers are the most important thing. And you at home should also understand that he is a very highly respected bettor in the sports betting world, and he does what he does well, and he's done it for a long time. So I have fun with it, and I also do my research. I just have it from a fan bettor perspective. That's bettor, not better, but that's because I watch the games and I know the teams. But he has it from a number side, which is a whole different thing. So definitely when it comes to these games, folks, you should listen because we have both had a great year.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got off to a very slow start. Anthony started out ATS against the spread 0-3, but just came on like a house on fire. I started out 1-2, came on board. And college football this year, if you want to check out my plays, 61-62% winners documented on VegasInsider.com. It's a great sports betting website. Some of the information is free. Some of it you have to pay for. It's been around for a long time. I've been handicapping college and pro football, college and pro basketball, Major League Baseball, and WNBA women's basketball on that site for the past 6 years. Anthony, what are you doing this weekend?
Honoring my grandfather by watching the Super Bowl. My parents are actually coming into town, and we're going to do a big thing and Super Bowl party because I will watch the game and I'll find a way to enjoy it. And I like the commercials. I really do. But my grandfather was a great man, and he passed away a week ago. We buried him yesterday, and he would have loved to watch the game. He was a huge sports fan, so I'm sure we'll crack open a couple of old Milwaukees for him and pour him out and just enjoy some football.
How's the voting for Best Comedy Show in Las Vegas going?
Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot about that. We have only a couple of days left for voting. If you go to www.bestoflasvegas.com/vote, it will bring you to this page that you see on the screen in the lower right-hand corner. You'll want to click on Fill in Ballot Online. Once you click on that, it's going to bring up another page where you can either log in or register. You want to go ahead and register using an email because they do track the votes. And once you go into there, it'll bring up a ballot form which you can fill out. So please, I ask for your votes humbly. But Best Comedian, Anthony Padilla. Best Comedy Show, Best Bargain Show. Best Comedy Club, Comedy After Dark starring Anthony Padilla. Best Show overall, Comedy After Dark starring Anthony Padilla. So I will spend my weekend sending everything out that I can to get people to vote and getting ready for the game. How about you?
Actually, you can check out my How to Bet the Super Bowl and Win seminar at Harrah's on the Strip. Saturday from noon until 4, I'll be joined with my good buddy Dink from the movie Lay the Favorite, starring Bruce Willis as Dink. Together we have 70 combined years of professional sports betting experience. I've been getting a lot of publicity on this seminar. 2 days ago I was on the Playboy television channel 102, Kevin Kline, Andrea. It was a great experience. So between the Huffington Post and the Playboy channel reaching out to me to get insight on how to win money betting the Super Bowl, it's been a great ride. For my good buddy Anthony Padilla, my name is Scott Pritchard. As always, great having you with us. We're live every Friday at 12 noon. We'll see you next week.
Rest in peace, Grandpa.
Right on. Amen to that.